once again. Good day, students. This is the video of our second lesson this week, which is Solutions of Quadratic Equations. The objective of our lesson is to solve quadratic equations, first, by extracting the square roots, second, by factoring, third, by completing the square, and then lastly, by quadratic formula. Solving quadratic equation is a process of finding the values or solutions for the unknown variable in the equation. In the standard form ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0, the unknown variable here is the variable x. So our goal is to find the value or values of x that will satisfy the equation. We have four methods in finding the solutions of quadratic equations. The first one is by extracting the square roots. Some quadratic equations may be written in the form ax squared is equal to c. This form of quadratic equation can be better solved using extracting the square root. Let us have some examples. Number 1, find the solution or solutions of x squared minus 25 is equal to 0 by extracting square roots. First, we need to change x squared minus 25 is equal to 0 in the form of ax squared is equal to c. So meaning to say we need to place negative 25 to the right side. By addition property, it will become x squared is equal to 25. Now, it is already written in the form of ax squared is equal to c. We can now get the square roots of both sides. So we have the square root of x squared is equal to the square root of 25. The square root of x squared is x and the square root of 25 is positive or negative 5. Now let us check if our answer is correct by checking. Our original equation is x squared minus 25 is equal to 0. If our x is equal to 5, let us substitute it in the equation. So we have 5 squared minus 25 is equal to 0. 5 squared is equal to 25. Minus 25, that is equal to 0. So meaning to say, positive 5 satisfies our equation. Next, we have the negative 5. X squared minus 25 is equal to 0. We have negative 5 squared minus 25 is equal to 0. The value of negative 5 squared, that is 25, then minus 25 is equal to 0. So, left and right of our equations are equal to 0. Thus, the solutions are negative 5 and positive 5. Next, number 2, find the solutions of x squared is equal to 0 by extracting square roots. Here, the given is already written in the form of ax squared is equal to c. So we can now proceed to extracting square roots of both sides. So that is the square root of x squared is equal to the square root of 0. Square root of x squared is equal to x and square root of 0 is equal to 0. That means our answer is 0. Now let us check. Our equation is x squared is equal to 0. Replace x by 0, so that is quantity 0 squared is equal to 0. 0 squared is equal to 0, which is equal to 0. Since left and right of the equations are equal, that means our solution is 0. Next, we have number 3. Find the solutions of x squared plus 16 is equal to 0. First, let us transform this in the form of ax squared is equal to c. So that is x squared is equal to negative 16. Then extract the square root of both sides. So that is the square root of x squared is equal to the square root of negative 16. Notice that the square root of negative 16 is undefined. We don't have a value of the square root of negative 16. So since negative 16 is less than 0 and does not have the square root. Thus, x squared plus 16 is equal to 0 has no solutions. Number 4, find the solutions of quantity m minus 5 squared is equal to 9. The equation is already written in the form of ax squared is equal to c. It only happens that our ax squared is a binomial, so that's okay. We can now proceed to extracting the square roots of the both sides. So that is the square root of quantity m minus 5 squared is equal to the square root of 9. Quantity m minus 5 squared is a perfect square. So if you're going to get the square root of that, the value is m minus 5. And then the square root of 9 is positive and negative 3. It only means that we have two possible answers if we're going to perform the operation. So the first one is m minus 5 is equal to 3. By addition property of equality, this will become m is equal to 5 plus 3. So our first value is equal to 8. The other value can be solved by m minus 5 is equal to negative 3. Again, by the addition property of equality, it will become m is equal to 5 minus 3. And then, our second value is equal to 2 because 5 minus 3 is equal to 2. Now, let us proceed to checking if m is equal to 8. Let us replace it with our original equation, quantity m minus 5 squared is equal to 9. Replace m, so that is equal to quantity 8 minus 5 squared is equal to 9. The difference of 8 and 5 is equal to 3, so that is quantity 3 squared is equal to 9. 3 squared is equal to 9, which is equal to 9. That means 8 is one of our solution. The other one is m is equal to 2. Our equation is quantity m minus 5 squared is equal to 9. Let us replace m by 2, so that is quantity 2 minus 5 squared is equal to 9. 2 minus 5, that is equal to negative 3, so that is quantity negative 3 squared is equal to 9. Quantity negative 3 squared is equal to 9 is equal to 9. So, meaning, as our other answer is 2. Thus, the solutions are 2 and 8. Now, let us have another way of solving quadratic equation, and that is by factoring. Factoring is another method of solving quadratic equations wherein we write the quadratic equations in factored form, then solve. Let us have some examples. Number 1, find the solutions of 2m minus 10m squared is equal to 0 by factoring. To solve this, let us follow the following steps. Step 1, transform the equation in the standard form ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0. So from our equation 2m minus 10m squared is equal to 0, it will become negative 10m squared plus 2m is equal to 0. Next step, factor the non-zero side. So the factored form of negative 10m squared plus 2m is equal to 0 is equal to negative 2m times the quantity 5m minus 1 is equal to 0. It's because the greatest common factor is negative 2m, and then divide each term by negative 2m, and then we obtain 5m minus 1. Next step, set each factor to 0. So that is negative 2m is equal to 0, and then the other one is 5m minus 1 is equal to 0. Next step, solve each resulting equation. So we have negative 2m is equal to 0. Divide both sides by negative 2 to eliminate the coefficient of m, which is negative 2, to make it m. So that is m is equal to 0. That means our first answer is 0. Next, to obtain the second value of m, we have 5m minus 1 is equal to 0. By addition property of equality, this will become 5m is equal to 1. Then divide both sides by 5 to make the coefficient of m equal to 1. So we have m is equal to 1 over 5 or 1/5. So our answer is 0 and 1/5. Next step, let us check if the solution or satisfies the original equation. So if m is equal to 0, let us have our original equation, that is 2m minus 10m squared is equal to 0. Let us replace m by 0, so that is 2 times the quantity 0 minus 10 times the quantity 0 raised to 2 is equal to 0. If we're going to evaluate the left side of the equation, the value is equal to 0, which is equal to 0 on the right side. So that means our answer, which is 0, is really one of the solution. The next solution is if m is equal to 1/5. So our original equation, that is 2m minus 10m squared is equal to 0. Replace m by 1/5. So that is 2 times the quantity 1 over 5 minus 10 times the quantity 1 over 5 squared is equal to 0. If you're going to multiply 2 times 1/5, that is 2/5 minus the value of negative 10 times 1/5 raised to 2, so that is negative 10 over 25. Simplifying the left side, so that is 2/5 minus 2/5 is equal to 0, which is 0 is equal to 0. Since both sides of the equations are equal, that means our solutions are 0 and 1 over 5. Next, number 2. Find the solutions of x squared minus 12x plus 36 is equal to 0. The factored form of this is the product of two binomials. The factor of x squared is x, and then the factors of 36 that will give us the sum of negative 12 is negative 6 and negative 6. Because the product of negative 6 times negative 6 is 36, the sum of negative 6 and negative 6 is negative 12. Since the factors are identical, that means we have only one solution. So that is x minus 6 is equal to 0. By addition property of equality, our value of x is equal to 6. Let us have now the checking. Our original equation is 2x squared minus 12x plus 36 is equal to 0. Replace the variable x by 6, so that is quantity 6 squared minus 12 times the quantity 6 plus 36 is equal to 0. 6 squared is equal to 36. Negative 12 times 6 is equal to negative 72, and then bring down 36. If we're going to evaluate the left side of our equation, that is equal to 0, which is the same with the value with the right side. That means our solution is only 6. Next, we have find the solutions of 2x squared minus x is equal to 3. Notice that our equation is not written in standard form. So the first thing to do is to write this into standard form. So that is 2x squared minus x is equal to 3 will become 2x squared minus x minus 3 is equal to 0. The factored form of this is 2x minus 3 times the quantity x plus 1 is equal to 0. Then, let us write each of the factor equated to 0. 2x minus 3 is equal to 0. By addition property of equality, this will become 2x is equal to 3. Then divide both sides by 2 to become the coefficient of x is equal to 1. So we have x is equal to 3 over 2. The next possible solution came from the x plus 1 is equal to 0. By addition property of equality, this will become x is equal to negative 1. So that means our possible answer is 3 over 2 and negative 1. Let us check if really this is the answers. Checking. Our original equation is 2x squared minus x is equal to 3. If x is equal to 3 over 2, so replace to the variable x. So we have 2 times the quantity 3 over 2 square minus 3 over 2 is equal to 3. The value of 2 times the quantity 3 over 2 square is 2 times 9 over 4 minus 3 over 2. 2 times 9 over 4, simplifying it, that is equal to 9 over 2 minus 3 over 2 is equal to 3. That is 6 over 2, which is equal to 3. 6 divided by 2 is 3, which is the same as 3 on the right side. That means 3 over 2 is really one of our answer. The next possible answer is x is negative 1. Our original equation is 2x squared minus x is equal to 3. Replace x by negative 1. So we have 2 times the quantity negative 1 square minus quantity negative 1 is equal to 3. The value of 2 times negative 1 raised to 2 is 2. And then negative times negative 1 is 1 is equal to 3. 2 plus 3 on the left side is equal to 3, which is the same with the right side, which is equal to 3. Since both sides of the equations are equal, therefore, the solutions are negative 1 and 3 over 2. Another way of solving quadratic equations is by completing the square. Sometimes quadratic equations cannot be solved by extracting the square roots and by factoring, because probably it is not factorable. Another convenient way to solve quadratic equation is by completing the square. But before we proceed, let us review this. Determine a number that must be added to make each statement a perfect square, and write as a square of binomial. Again, our goal is to make the left side a perfect square. So our given number 1 is x squared minus 10x plus blank is equal to 0. To do that, we're going to divide the coefficient of the second term, which is negative 10, divided by 2. The answer is negative 5, and then square it, that is 25. That means we're looking for 25. Our equation now is x squared minus 10x plus 25 is equal to 0. Writing it as a square of binomial, it will become the quantity x minus 5 squared is equal to 0. Negative 5 is the result of negative 10 over 2. So that is negative 5. Next we have x squared plus 3x plus blank is equal to 0. Again, the coefficient of the second term is 3. Divide by 2. It is also the same as 3 over 2. And then square it, that is 9 over 4. So that means the third term is 9 over 4. Our equation now is x squared plus 3x plus 9 over 4 is equal to 0. To write it as a square of binomial, it is quantity x plus 3 over 2 square is equal to 0. Next, number 3, 4x squared plus 20x plus blank is equal to 0. As you can see, the coefficient of x squared is 4. So we need to divide the whole equation first by 4. So that will become x squared plus 5x plus blank is equal to 0. Then, the coefficient of the second term is 5 divided by 2. It is also the same as 5 over 2. And then square it. That is 25 over 4. So that means the third term is 25 over 4. Our equation now is x squared plus 5x plus 25 over 4 is equal to 0. As a square of binomial, it is quantity x plus 5 over 2 square is equal to 0. Now let us use the method of completing the square by answering these examples. Find the solutions of x squared minus 2x minus 8 is equal to 0 by completing the square. Okay, to solve this, let us follow these steps. Step 1, divide all terms by a. Since the coefficient of a in x squared minus 2x minus 8 is equal to 0 is 1, we can now proceed to the next step. Step 2, move the term c over a to the right side of the equation. Actually, this is the constant term. So, from x squared minus 2x minus 8 is equal to 0, it will become x squared minus 2x is equal to 8. Next step, complete the square on the left side of the equation by adding the square of half of the middle term and balance this by adding the same value to the right side of the equation. How to do this? Let us see. So x squared minus 2x, half of negative 2 is negative 1, and then square it. So that means we need to add 1 both sides of the equation. So we have now x squared minus 2x plus 1 is equal to 8 plus 1. Simplifying it, that is equal to x squared minus 2x plus 1 is equal to 9. Then, next step, write the left side of the equation as a square of binomial. So that is quantity x minus 1 square is equal to 9. Next step, take the square root on both sides of the equation. So we have the square root of quantity x minus 1 square is equal to the square root of 9. The square root of the left side is equal to x minus 1. The square root of the right side is positive 3 and negative 3. Next, another step, solve each resulting equation. So we have x minus 1 is equal to 3. That is one of the equation. So by addition property of equality, it will become x is equal to 1 plus 3. So our first x is equal to 4. Then the other equation is x minus 1 is equal to negative 3. By addition property of equality, it will become x is equal to 1 minus 3. Solving it, that is x is equal to negative 2. So that means the possible solutions are 4 and negative 2. Let us check if it satisfies our original equation. So our equation is x squared minus 2x minus 8 is equal to 0. If x is 4, so that is 4 squared minus 2 times 4 minus 8 is equal to 0. Simplifying the left side of the equation, it will become 16 minus 8 is equal to 0. Or 0 is equal to 0. So that means 4 is one of our solution. The next, if x is negative 2, so we have quantity negative 2 squared minus 2 times negative 2 minus 8 is equal to 0. Simplifying the left side of the equation, we have 4 plus 4 minus 8 is equal to 0. 4 plus 4 is equal to 8 minus 8 is equal to 0. 0 is equal to 0. Thus, the solutions are negative 2 and 4. Next, number 2. Find the solutions of 2x squared minus 6x plus 1 is equal to 0. First, we need to transfer the constant term to the right side. So we have 2x squared minus 6x equal to negative 1. Notice that the coefficient of the quadratic term is not 1. So we need to divide the whole equation by 2. So from that, our equation now is x squared minus 3x is equal to negative 1 half. Next, we need to complete the square of the left side. So that is x squared minus 3x plus 9 over 4 is equal to negative 1 half plus 9 over 4. Next, let us simplify the right side of the equation. So we have x squared minus 3x plus 9 over 4 is equal to negative 2 over 4 plus 9 over 4. Next, we have x squared minus 3x plus 9 over 4 is equal to 7 over 4. 7 over 4 is the result of negative 2 over 4 plus 9 over 4. Next, let us write the left side of the equation as the square of binomial. So it is quantity x minus 3 over 2 square is equal to 7 over 4. Next, let us get the square root of both sides. So that is the square root of quantity x minus 3 over 2 square is equal to the square root of 7 over 4. The square root of quantity x minus 3 over 2 square is x minus 3 over 2. The square root of 7 over 4 is positive and negative square root of 7 over 2. Now let us separate the equation. We have x minus 3 over 2 is equal to the square root of 7 over 2. And then the other one is x minus 3 over 2 is equal to negative square root of 7 over 2. Let us solve. By addition property of equality, x minus 3 over 2 is equal to the square root of 7 over 2. It will become x equal to 3 over 2 plus square root of 7 over 2. Since they have the same denominator, we can combine them. So therefore, that is x equal to 3 plus square root of 7 all over 2. And then on the other hand, by addition property of equality, x minus 3 over 2 is equal to negative square root of 7 over 2 will become x is equal to 3 over 2 minus square root of 7 over 2. Since they have the same denominator, we can combine them. So the second possible answer is x equal to 3 minus square root of 7 over 2. Thus, the solutions are 3 plus and minus square root of 7 all over 2. Now let us have the fourth and last method of solving quadratic equations, and that is by quadratic formula. If it is not convenient for you to use the three previous methods in finding the solutions of quadratic equation, then you can use this last method. Here, you need to write the quadratic equation into standard form and then identify the coefficients of A, B, and C of the equation. Then our quadratic formula is x is equal to negative b plus and minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Let us have some examples. Solve each equations by quadratic formula. Let us have number 1. Find the solutions of 2x squared plus 9x equal to 5. So first step, write the quadratic equation in the standard form ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0. So from 2x squared plus 9x is equal to 5, it will become 2x squared plus 9x minus 5 is equal to 0. Next step, identify the values of the coefficients of a, b, and c. So our a is equal to 2, b is equal to 9, and c is equal to negative 5. Third step, substitute the corresponding values to the formula. Again, our formula is x equal to negative b plus and minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So it will become x is equal to negative 9 plus and minus the square root of the quantity 9 squared minus 4 times 2 times negative 5 all over 2 times 2. Then, step number 4, evaluate and simplify the result. So, it will become x equal to negative 9 plus and minus the square root of 81 plus 40 all over 40. 81 is the square of 9 squared. Positive 40 is the product of negative 4 times 2 and then negative 5. 4 is the product of 2 and 2. Then, simplifying it again, it will become x equal to negative 9 plus and minus the square root of 121 all over 4. The square root of 121 is 11, so we have now x is equal to negative 9 plus and minus 11 all over 4. Now let us separate the two possible answers. We have the first one, x is equal to negative 9 plus 11 over 4. And then the other one is negative 9 minus 11 all over 4. Let us compute the first one. Negative 9 plus 11 is 2 and then over 4. And then simplifying it again, we have the first value of x is 1/2. Then let us proceed to the next one. Negative 11 minus 9 all over 4. We have negative 20 all over 4. Simplifying it, we have the second value which is negative 5. Thus, the solutions are negative 5 and 1/2. Next sample, number 2. So we have find the solutions of x squared minus 7x minus 4 is equal to 0. Our equation is already written in the standard form. So we need to do now is to find the coefficients of a, b, and c. So we have a is equal to 1, b is equal to negative 7, and c is equal to negative 4. Again, our quadratic formula is x equal to negative b plus and minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Let us substitute the values of a, b, and c in the quadratic formula. So we have x equal to negative of negative 7 plus and minus the square root of quantity negative 7 squared minus 4 times 1 times negative 4 all over 2 times 1. Let us evaluate. So we have x equal to 7 plus and minus the square root of 49 plus 16 all over 2. Let us combine 49 and 16. So we have x is equal to 7 plus and minus the square root of 65 all over 2. Square root of 65 is not a perfect square, so it is already written in simplest form. Thus, the solutions are 7 plus the square root of 65 all over 2, and then the other one is 7 minus square root of 65 all over 2. Next, number 3. Find the solutions of x squared minus x plus 4 is equal to 0. Again, the same with number 2. It is already written in the standard form. Let us identify the coefficients of a, b, and c. So we have a is equal to 1, b is equal to negative 1, and c is equal to negative 4. Again, our quadratic formula is x equal to negative b plus and minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Let us substitute those values. So we have x equal to negative of negative 1 plus and minus the square root of quantity negative 1 square minus 4 times 1 times 4 all over 2 times 1. Let us evaluate. So we have x equal to 1 plus and minus the square root of 1 minus 16 all over 2. Let us combine 1 minus 16. So we have x equal to 1 plus and minus the square root of negative 15 all over 2. Square root of negative 15 is undefined. Since we do not have the square root of negative 15, thus there is no solutions.